What's going down, everybody? Brother Stevanius here. Welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we're going to be having a look at my personal favorite and who I think are probably one of, if not the strongest Legion in Horus Heresy 2.0, the Alpha Legion. We're going to be having a look specifically, not at their units today, but we're going to be having a look at the top units to take for the rewards of treachery. All right, special trait for the faction. Now, you can expand that into the Coils of the Hydra, where you can take 3 of these units. Now, this has been FAQ'd since, but it's very important to note that with the Coils of the Hydra, if you're going to take 3 units, they must come from the same faction, and they must, in fact, be the same unit. And I've had to factor this in to this listing. All right, so if you see a few units which are kind of like, oh yeah, but that's really strong, Steve, you know? Well, the thing is they might be strong with their own legions, okay? But when you put them into the Alpha Legion, they lose their Legion keyword and they get the Alpha Legion keyword. So, you know, although some units are really, really strong in, like Morlocks, for example, when you have them in the Iron Hands faction with their traits, when you put them in the Alpha Legion, they're still okay, but there are better choices. And that's something you're going to be seeing in this video. We're looking for the maximum competitive output here. We know there are a lot of good units, but this is, you know, the best of the best. Like on a competitive edge, what are the best units to take? So I'm going to divide this list up into 3 categories. We'll start this off now. The categories are going to be average. So these are units that are pretty solid. They're not really going to lose you the game if you take them. In other lists, they'd be pretty strong. In other factions, they'd be pretty strong in their own factions. Then we're going to go to honorary mentions. These units are units which are really strong. So they're really, really good. But there's either another unit that takes their place, or there's just something a little bit missing there that doesn't quite get them into that top tier, S tier choice for the rewards of treachery that the Alpha Legion, allow us to take. So let's start off. So first of all, I'm going to talk about some of the average units. Now, Justerian Terminators. Justerian Terminators, they do work well enough with Alpha Legion. They don't really synergize with anything. None of these units are really going to synergize with any other Alpha Legion traits. You're always going to get, your 2 up away from the other player, no matter what. Okay, with any unit you take here, and that's a good thing. You'll be able to infiltrate stuff with Alfarius. Okay, deep strike it with Alfarius or Dynat. Okay, you'll be able to infiltrate units there. All right, so really what we're looking at here is units that are powerful on the base stats that have their own independent special rules, and we can mix up in there with chaplains and things like that, and other HQs. So Justerian Terminators, a lot of attacks, 3 attacks each, pretty powerful unit. You get your 4-up save. You've got a really decent stat line, weapon skill 5 as well, ballistic skill 5 even. But they're outdone a little bit by our top tier of units. Okay. Domitar Terminators, Tyrant Siege Terminators. Very good units when used within the Iron Warriors. Weapon skill 5, they've got a whole bunch of hatred towards Automata, which can come in handy. Okay, other rules, which are pretty decently strong, but again, they're not really synergizing as well as some other units with Alpha Legion. Tyrant Siege Terminators, very strong. They are a bit expensive. Okay, they've got really good range. But again, we have Fulminatus, which will be better for Alpha Legion. They will share better synergy with the Alpha Legion because the Fulminatus, they have a few tricks up their sleeve. And if you're going to take a range dominant unit, then the Fulminatus is the way to go, all right? But these units here, you could take these. There's a whole lot of other units, I'm not listing here, all right, that are going to do you really well. Let me know in the comments down below, everybody, if I've missed something or you want to add something or you think there's another unit that should be on this list. but this is just my top list, okay, what I've had the most success with. And I'll go through and I'll justify my claims when I get to them. These units here, there's not much more to talk about except that there's better options, okay? All these units as well, everybody, they're going to be getting their own breakdowns on my channel as well. So we're not going to go through every single stat line here. This isn't a deep dive. We're just having a look at the best overall units. Okay, so honorary mentions. So we have Invictus Caesarean. Now, a lot of people, you will turn around here and they'll basically just go, Steve, are you crazy? Have you lost the plot? Invictus Caesareans are like so good, man. They can run, you know, they got the shields and they could basically, like they could take thunder hammers and they get, you know, 3 attacks base and all this kind of stuff like that. All right. And they are very good. They are a very good unit. They're actually an excellent unit. Excellent for their points cost as well. Now, some things to remember, again, for all the stuff that they do have, there are other units who have that plus more. Now, there are a few limitations, especially with the Alpha Legion, with Invictus Caesarean. Okay, first of all, baseline, all right, with their Thunder Hammers, they're going to lose their additional attack with Thunder Hammers because their shield doesn't have specialist weapon, and the Thunder Hammers do. So the extra attack that you're going to get with taking their axes, Legatine axes, which are really epic as well, striking at initiative, all that kind of stuff, AP2, they're really good, but you know, you're not going to get those extra attacks for Thunder Hammers, and there's units which I'll cover later. So if you're taking Caesareans for the invulnerable save, the 4-up from the shields, it only happens in close combat, remember? So at range, you're basically on a 5-up. Okay, and if you're taking them for their amount of attacks, well, there are units which have more attacks, okay? So, you know, like I said, they are very good. They are going to do you well, but there's better units for it. The thing is with the Invictus Caesarean is that the secret is these guys, and this is what a lot of people don't quite get. When they see these units rock up, they freak out. You know, they freak the hell out. You know, because they got the chosen warriors and everything like that. People will scatter around the wounds. But they're essentially Taratos Terminators, okay? With an additional attack, all right? And a 4-up invul in close combat. The way that you kill these guys is basically by keeping them at range and slamming into them with high-strength weaponry, with melters and things like that. Now, I will cover these units more in their own video, but the problem is with Chosen Warriors, although it's good, you know, you can't reallocate wounds around the squad and use Chosen Warriors if the guy is dead, okay? So the thing is with Caesarean, they are powerful, they're really good for their points, but the whole stigma and rigmarole and fear and that around them, I'm sorry, as an Ultramarines player myself, you know, they're a really good unit, but there's better, okay? There's better in the game, and with Alpha Legion, we really want to be taking the best. We want to be having the best units that we can here, all right? Morlock Terminators, another unit that's really, really good, okay? You know, their Sergeant can take a Cherub or a Cyberfuria, which will basically give a Sergeant a 3-up, okay? Again, though, the problem is there's other units which will cover, which are going to get, you know, a 3-up throughout the squad. Beyond that, I don't believe you could take Thunder Hammers. I think maybe the Sergeant can. They're on Power Fists, etc. You know, they're a good unit, okay? But once again, there are better Terminator units out there for those. Now, we have the Dark Angel Interrupters. Now, the Interrupters are actually really, really good. These are one of the best units to take with Alpha Legion if you're going to not just use the Rewards of Treachery, but if you're also going to use the Coils of the Hydra with 3 units. Now, these guys essentially have plasma crazy rending flamethrowers, all right? And you get a block of these guys, you position them tactically on the board, especially in Zone Mortalis. These guys are going to just eradicate anything, you know. Plasma rending flamers. I believe they rend on a 4-up, okay? Or they have breaching on a 4-up. But they are really good. The reason why these are in honorable mentions and they're not in the top tier, the top choices section, is essentially because they only have 1 wound. So as good as they are, and they're not that durable as well, so as good as they are, I'm going to put them there here in the honorary mentions. And it's simply because, again, going back to the fact that there are just some better options out there, okay? So the next one, we got Full-Mataris Terminators. Now, very strong unit once again, but again, you know, I've seen these guys go down many times. Full-Mataris would actually be in top choices for the Alpha Legion Rewards of Treachery units. If it's in Age of Darkness, okay, because of their range. However, in the Zone Mortalis, it's a lot more close quarters. Now, they can still fire without line of sight, okay, but on their special weapons, but you cannot move when you do that, and in a close quarter situation, all right, it's very easy for people to come in on you, corner you, get the drop on you, get into close combat, etc. You can get bottlenecked off a lot more. Same goes for the Victus Suzerain. Okay, once again, they are more powerful in Zone Mortalis. Okay, because of, you know, you're gonna be able to close that gap with other players on your opponents, whereas AOD, you know, people are going to be able to sort of outflank you a lot more and get a lot more of that ranged Achilles heel firepower into your ass, which are going to bring these squads down. Because these guys go down, you know, melters, like anytime I'm playing Ultramarines, I will just make sure that I'm taking veterans, the part of my Alpha Legion lists, with some melters or special weapons support squads or whatever, high strength weapon, anything. Las Cannon squad with Master of Signals will slap the crap out of these guys from far off in Age of Darkness, okay? You know, 10 Las Cannon shots smacking into you, doubling you out. Chosen Warrior all day, guys. You're going down. Start removing those models, okay? So we come down now to our top choices for the Alpha Legion. And my top choices in no particular order, because this comes down to your situation. The Fire Drakes, the Huskal Terminators, and the Varigya Terminators, okay? Now, that last one there might surprise you, and I know a lot of you will be thinking, what? You know, you're on drugs, Steve, like, you're full of crap, whatever. But just hear me out to the end of the video. Let me explain to you why, all right? So, essentially, we break the top tier choices down like this. We have Huskal Terminators, which have the best durability, because they have Battle Hardened. Now, they only have Battle Hardened on the turn in which they're charged, but they can weather attacks because they have a 3-up invul. You know, you put them in with the standard culprits, Chaplain, Apocryphy, etc. They're going to do awesome. Any of these, you want to put those HQ choices in there with them to give them those bonuses, hatred, etc. Now, the thing with Huskals is that they don't have as many attacks, but they have the Solarite Power Gauntlet. The Solarite Power Gauntlet is going to come in at Strength 10, AP 1. So what that means is you're going to be able to double out a lot of Toughness 5 units. All right, which is nuts. And that's why you take these guys. One of the problems with the Huskals, all right, and why it might be better to take Fire Drakes as a close combat unit or Varigya Terminators, is the fact that they basically, the Huskals come in to the HQ slot, which means that you cannot take them in a Coils of the Hydra, right? Because, well, you could take 2 of them, I suppose, all right, but you need a HQ because you need a Warlord to cover 1 HQ slot. And then you'll need 2 more to be in the HQ slot. They can't be taken as a retinue because they switch their Imperial Fists keyword out with the Alpha Legion keyword. And if you look at the data sheet, it specifically says on the data sheet that to become a retinue, they must have the Imperial Fist key whip. They don't have that, they don't become a retinue. Okay, very simple. So they get hardened on the attack coming in. All right, they got the Solarite Power Gauntlet. So anytime you're going to be taking on Custodes, right? You're going to need to double out Custodes. You take these guys of Alpha Legion. All right, double those Custodes right out. Okay. Things like Word Bearers, I recommend you take Huskarls as well, okay, because of Gal Vorbak, right? Toughness 5, double those guys out, smash through all their wounds, okay? So this is when you take Huskarls. You can take them all the time, all right, but they are more of a, sort of like less attacks, but when you hit, you connect and you get your 3-up save. So you will be striking last or at the same time, but you have battle hardened and you basically can weather anything that they chuck at you because you have that 3-up save. Okay. Now, there are the rules here, so I'll just check. Iron Bulwark, which is the battle hardened. They've also got Relentless. You can also get Deep Strike with them because it's here on the data sheet, which is pretty amazing. So if it means if you have Alfarius on the board there somewhere, you don't have to use an additional Deep Strike slot. You can actually have 4 units Deep Striking. Yeah, I mean, you can upgrade them with power swords and things like that, but why would you? Okay, you're going to go with a Solarite Power Gauntlet. They can't take Thunder Hammers, but again, so they're not going to get brutal. That's the other thing with them. But you're going to be doubling stuff out pretty quick, okay? Now, Fire Drakes. Fire Drakes are what I call the baseline top tier rewards of treason unit for the Alpha Legion. Now, what I mean by baseline is I mean when you don't know who you're going to play, or you want something that's going to be all around sort of good at everything, pretty epic at everything actually, but still, not specializing against destroying a high toughness unit or something like that, then you're going to use Fire Drakes. Fire Drakes are absolutely amazing. Okay, they might even be the #1 choice. All right. They have Thunder Hammers all across the board. They have the 3-up invul. They have weapon skill 5. All right. The sergeant gets 3 attacks. All right. The other guys get 2 attacks. They have It Will Not Die on a 5-up, so they can bring another wound back. That can be re-rolled with the Apocryphy in the squad. All right, they have Heavy, which is great. They've got Forgecraft of Nocturne, which means they can re-roll hit rolls for their Thunder Hammers. Okay, you can also upgrade them furthermore with a Master Crafted weapon, to re-roll hit rolls of 1 for them. But the thing is that I don't know if you'd bother because you'd probably put them into a chaplain anyway. But you could save yourself points. These guys probably don't need a chaplain. So you could leave 1 out. They just do really, really good on their own. Absolutely fantastic unit. Very, very durable and hit like a truck with Thunder Hammer Brutals. All right. Fantastic. They're also the elite slot. All these are in the elite slot, by the way. So you could take 3 of them. This is another unit you could consider taking 3 units on in Alpha Legion. But, it's up to you whether you want to do that or not. It can get pretty expensive when you do that. Now, they don't come with Deep Strike automatically. All right, so if you want to deep strike these guys, you're going to have to confer it with, with Alfarius or with a Warmonger. Dynat, can infiltrate these guys. So really, really awesome unit, fantastic unit, okay? Now, for my secret choice, Vagir Terminators, okay? Why have I picked these guys to make them one of the top tier units over Invictus Caesarian, over Full Martris, over Morlocks, okay? Okay, guys, look, the amount of rules that these guys have and the attacks that these guys have, essentially they do every other one of these units here in the top tier out, except the fact that they only have a 4-up invul, all right? But a 5-man squad of these guys, okay, so check it out. You got Thunder Hammers on all of them, and you can take a Frostclaw. Now that means that you get an extra attack for your specialist weapon as well, because you can see here, unlike the Reavers, with Ragnar Terminators, the Frostclaw is a specialist weapon and the Thunder Hammer is a specialist weapon. So you get an additional attack of that, and it's brutal already. Okay, now already the Thane has 3 attacks. The normal Viagnir have 2 attacks base. Okay, the Frostclaw also has Shred and Reaping Blow. All right, so you can get somewhere from 5 guys up to 102 attacks for these guys. It's absolutely nuts. Okay, you get an attack for the charge. All right, you get attack for being specialist weapon. Okay, it's just, and it's brutal. All right, literally. In addition to that, okay, you've got counter attack 1, which means that even when you get attacked, you are going to have the same amount of attacks as when you charge coming out. So that's crazy on these guys. It also means here that you can switch the weapons up. So if you're going up against Terminators or something like that, that you want to insta-pop, all right? You want to double out, okay? You could choose to have those attacks with the Thunder Hammers, all right? So you're going to start popping Terminators. You're going to be going at the same time or last against Emperor's Children or something. Whatever, who cares? You got a 2-up, you got a 4-up, okay? You can weather that, and chances are you're going to get your attacks back anyway to get them. But let's say that you're not taking on Terminators. Let's say your opponent tries to ambush you with Chaff. Well, that's absolutely fine as well. Just switch to your Frostclaws, all right? And now your AP3, Shred, Reaping Blow, you go up to crazy amount of attacks there. Okay, you start carving the armor up just absolutely insanely. You can also have 2 guys hitting with Thunder Hammers, 3 guys hitting with Frostclaws, all right? Whatever it is you want to do. They also get Fear 1, all right? So that's amazing. They also get, on top of all those other attacks, they get Hammer of Wrath 2. So they're going to get 2 extra attacks each coming in with Hammer of Wrath on top. So that's like 10 extra attacks on 5 guys. They've got heavy, so they're re-rolling against specialist weapons. Now, against flame and template weapons. The thing is, Space Wolves, these guys go extra nuts because they're already at weapon skill 5. In Space Wolves, these guys actually go up to weapon skill 6, which is pretty nuts. Yeah, and they've also got Relentless and Stubborn. They can take a Vexilla, so they could score if you want them to. You could take 3 squads of them because they're basically an elite choice. And they have Lord's Bane, which essentially means it's a special... If that wasn't enough for you, and you thought Invictus Cesarum good, Lord's Bane makes them also chosen warriors. But you can also... So you can allocate the wounds, but then you also have this other perk where when you win combat in a challenge, you count as +1 to the wounds for scoring in the combat. So you remember those Invictus Suzerain you thought were really good? Bye-bye, out the window. Because these guys have more attacks, they have a 4-up all the time, not just in close combat, and they have a whole lot of other epic stuff right here, right now. So that's my roundup, everybody, of the best rewards of treachery units for the Alpha Legion. Now, I know you can take anything for the Alpha Legion. I get it. Remember, there's always the rule of cool, but this is me looking at it from a competitive standpoint. If you think I've missed anything, anybody, or you want to make any comments, okay, or you want to chat about anything at all, please feel free to make a comment on the channel, like, share, and subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one, everybody. Keep rolling.